Hey, good morning, everyone. Today is January 20th, and my name is Naeva Flory. I've been a part of the Million Mom Movement Council for some time now, and I've been a part of the Purium community for a little over 8 years. And today we have an incredible topic. We're going to be talking about family mastery, health, and fitness and personal development. And we have some incredible special guests on here today. But first, we're going to have our little in the news piece. So today we're going to be learning about getting in the right mindset with your family to achieve mastery with your family goals. And I'm really excited to learn more from Brandon and Olivia in just a few minutes. But first, let's go ahead and share our in the news piece. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Carmela.
Thanks so much, Naeva. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Fierce Friday. So today we have a wonderful article by our Million Mom Movement friend, Carrie Gillum. She's the author of Whitewash. She's also the managing editor of The New Lead. So I'll put this article in the chat. But if you could take a look at it here. So she writes, today, this article is from today, so it's current. People exposed to weed killer chemical have cancer biomarkers in urine study. This is a very profound study because, of course, there's ongoing evidence, and this study measured glyphosate in urine, found high levels associated with signs of oxidative stress. So this is the new research by top US government scientists that have found people exposed to this widely used weed-killing chemical, glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup. They have the biomarkers. And this is a great study if you want to click in. It's the Journal of National Cancer Institute, and it goes on to talk about urinary oxidative stress biomarkers in agriculture and health study. There's many clickable links here that you should go into for research. But I found it most interesting that the authors of this paper, they were 10 scientists of the National Institute of Health and 2 from the Centers of the Disease Control and Prevention. They concluded that their study contributes to the weight of the evidence supporting the association between glyphosate exposure and oxidative stress in humans. And oxidative stress, this accumulating evidence supports that it is the pathogenesis of hematologic cancers such as lymphoma, myeloma, and leukemia. And it's not something that anyone wants to have in this community. It has been reported that 80% of urine samples drawn from children and adults contain glyphosate. That's an alarming, more than half, almost 100%. And the CDC reported that out of 2,310 urine samples taken from the group of Americans intended to be representative of the population, 1,885 contain detectable traces of this glyphosate. It is the most heavily applied herbicide in history. And if you did not catch our Lunch and Learn yesterday about soil health, about gut health and its connection to aging, we were talking about how the herbicide glyphosate is actually an antibiotic and it makes soil sterile, but it also makes humans infertile. So think about how it's connected to this Million Mom Movement community. And all the mamas here should be alarmed that there's such a high incidence of this glyphosate found in urine samples in our children. At the very bottom, we're talking about the EPA and really how European regulators are completing updated assessments. And the spokesperson told the Guardian agency that the findings of these new evidence studies, it's still under EPA study up to now. Monsanto and Bayer remain mired in litigation. Bayer is still facing a surge of investor unrest, and they're still not fully called out. This is why we want to share these articles, because we want you to pass this along for more people to see and understand that there is a deep, deep connection with all diseases. If you do look at our founder's book, The Toxin in Our Daily Bread, there are wonderful charts that directly connect all the diseases with the spraying and onset of glyphosate since the 70s. And at the very bottom here, pregnancy worries. Well, so like I said, it makes our soil sterile. Well, what about the future of our children? The debate over the safety of glyphosate has persisted for years and intensified after the International Agency for Research on Cancer, a unit of the World Health Organization, declared it probably carcinogenic to humans. So I don't know how much more evidence we all need, but this study really does support this. I'm going to pass the mic back over to Naiva. I'm really excited for this talk today with the Oshodins. Welcome, the Oshodins. We're so excited to have you on our call.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Carmela. The In the News is such an important part of our presentation every week because we're always bringing things to you that are prevalent right now and something that you can talk about. So take little pieces of this, either take screenshots during our presentation, share it in your stories, or afterwards use these links and create your own reels and stories and shares around these topics because they're really important. So today I'm super excited to have our special guest on to have such an incredible presentation. These leaders have really inspired me, and I know they inspire so much of our community with the way that they raise their family. They share healthy lifestyle. They're doing events at parks and playgrounds, and they're rocking their business. They have a fitness center as well, and they're just always sharing from the heart. And so I'm so excited to bring Olivia and Brandon Oshodin to the Million Mom Movement today. So handing it over to you.
Hi, everybody.
Miraculous day, everybody.
So today's topic, we were going to be discussing family mastery and what that stands for us. You know, when we talked about a topic or what would we like to discuss in a sense of goal setting, and especially we're entering the new year, and the trend for every new year is, you know, set a health goal, a fitness goal. But in our household, what really helps us, well, we don't really set New Year's goals because we just live in goals every day. But how that happens is it really comes down to like personal development, the mindset. And that's something that we really built as a foundation in our family. So we live principle and family principles and just a certain way of life. Like that's just how we're constantly developing together, versus like a lot of times what I usually see, what we've both seen, coaching people through fitness, coaching people through health, is a lot of times you hear, well, if I'm making all this for me as a mom, right, what am I going to feed my kids? Or what am I going to feed my husband? Or, you know, it's always separate. And so we've really made sure since actually the very beginning, we've always integrated everything. Like we're a unit, we're all on the same page. Anything else you wanted to add to that part?
Yeah, I think it always starts with yourself and then ripples out. We talk a lot about the 5 circles of influence within our community. And it starts with your own personal growth and development, your own principles, your creed, your own alignment to God, and then letting that reflect out and inspire your family, whether it be your wife, your husband, and really being examples. Because I know this is a call with a lot of people with children. You know, they don't listen to what we say at all ever, right? We were just telling the kids something 18 times until that 19th time they finally got it, but they do watch what we do all the time, right? And so making sure that our family is close to the fire and they can actually see us living out these principles. We also framed our family principles, nutrition, movement, personal growth and development, seeking out mentorships and masterminds, finding ways to add value. Like these are things that we get to talk about on a daily basis. And then throughout the day, kind of see and, you know, go back to it, like, are we living in alignment with those principles? And honestly, I think that that's a huge part of our actual business because, you know, how you treat yourself is going to be how you treat your family, and how you treat your family is going to ripple out to how you teach your team. And that's how your team's going to teach their team, which becomes your organization, which ultimately becomes the impact that you make out into the community. So it all starts within. We are in a ripple effect business, which is a beautiful thing because we get to transform the world by simply transforming ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a little insight on that. And I guess we could share a couple of tips. Do you have any tips that you'd like to share that you think that would help everybody? And then I can go after you since I started.
Yeah, I think some of the most important things is, again, starting within. I find a lot. Again, we've been coaches for over 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
Whether that be through fitness or personal development or business. And what I find is people typically skip over themselves, especially mothers, and go straight to the family aspect. Whereas to, having some type of self-care schedule. And that's going to be different for different people. It really depends on what's important to you and what helps you feel creative, what helps you feel aligned. Some people need an hour of meditation, some people need 5 minutes. But I think starting the day with that is very powerful. A strong morning routine starts at night. So, throughout the day, we all know it's very difficult to say what's going to happen throughout the day. So we all schedule, right? I've got my planner right here, but you never know what the kids may need. You never know when the kids may wake up, right? But if you can say, okay, this is the time that we're going to intentionally go to bed. And these may be the sounds or the prayer, meditation, whatever the case may be, that I go into sleep so that I can feel aligned. And this is the time I'm going to wake up. And I'll wake up. I'm not just going to scroll mindlessly. I'm not just going to hop right into taking care of somebody else, but I might find some, for me, it's like, it started off with just 30 minutes, but now I'm at like a 4-hour period of time for myself, meditation, working out, writing my goals down. And from there, that gives you the opportunity to now pour into your family from a high place with clear energy, not from the run over of what happened the other day. But no, it started off small and builds up. Luckily, we're all in a business where we can kind of buy our own time. But I think you living it first is the key, because you'll be burnt out. You'll have nothing to fall back on. So when the kids aren't listening and things aren't going right in business, if you don't have that, well, at least I've got myself and my connection to whatever you deem as source, then you're bound to implode for sure.
Yeah. And a big one, I would say, is especially, I don't say especially, but whoever's the caregiver, but I come from a mother perspective, so I'm going to speak from that perspective, is it's important to realize to set the intention, but also to surrender the fact that we ultimately don't have control. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, especially something I hear all the time is looking for balance. And it's really the reality, at least for me, there's no balance. We have 3 kids. I literally, at any moment, we could have the 4th one right now. Actually, I'm already full cooked. So it's like whenever. And that's the thing, is that like literally I could have the attention and an expectation is what we tend to do of like how my day will, for all I know today, right now, it could happen, and it just changes the whole trajectory of the day. And so it's so important to not look for balance, but look for inner peace within, that center within, of understanding that my intention is this. Doesn't mean give up on it, but how can I just keep moving forward with that in sight, the vision in sight of the goal, with understanding that there's going to be shiftiness happening throughout the day at all times, so that's really big, because yeah, we actually, it was just yesterday. I don't even know the day. It's every day there's something new. But even yesterday, like Adonis, he's our 1-year-old. He woke up at 3 a.m. and then it was like this whole other experience after that. Another kid, another one. And so it's like, you could feel upset, like, okay, well, I set on my calendar, I was gonna wake up, do breath work, drink a gallon of water, and do this. Yeah. And then ultimately, most of the time, what happens is we give up. I'm like, okay, this isn't for me, or I can't do it. And it's just like, you actually still won, because you're still going. Like, the moment is still now to take advantage of your, where you're going, and keeping the vision in place for yourself. If anything, it's just showing you your strengths, okay, I have these things going on, but it wouldn't be on your plate if it wasn't for you anyway. Mm-hmm. So just being okay with, sorry, I also have mommy brain, so that's like, Brandon, help me. But that's why it's so important to have that, the intention set, but release and surrender the control aspect of it, but always just go for, the vision of what you're going for, and the intention is my best advice when it's comes to setting out a new goal for yourself, changing new habits for yourself, because it just takes time. It's not going to happen really, it's not even going to happen the first 30 days. It'll be like 90 days and carrying out. So, give yourself that grace.
Yeah.
And I think it's super important to do that, like embody that, because you have to remember, you think about your children, and there's so many times where you see them trying, right? Like our daughter's now, our 5-year-old, she's learned to do she made waffles for herself. And she was all excited, but like the whole transition of her making food on her own has been messy, and her trying to figure that out. And so like, almost like look at yourself in your child's eyes, because they're watching us, is like, we would give them grace because we know that they're trying to, create new habits and grow and expand. So it's the same thing for ourselves, because how we handle those scenarios is what they're watching. And then that's how then they're going to now critique themselves and fumble the ball and everything.
Yeah, I think that's why miracle moments are so important, because a lot of times, you're right, we might have time. Yeah, there's been many times where it's like, okay, I'm going to do my meditation in the morning, but then Adonis wakes up and then he's chasing me and, everything that's going on. And it might just be 5 minutes here and there. But it's important to take it, because a lot of times we get so tired and it's like 5 minutes, I just want to flop down and think of nothing or scroll mindlessly. But every single little moment that you can take to surrender your mind, to give yourself that break of momentum, is a great opportunity. We have 2 words that we use a lot in our family. One is equanimity, and the other one is magnanimity. So equanimity is calmness of mind, especially under pressure. And so that's something to think of, that I utilize when I'm in the gym, when I'm feeling like, oh man, this is way beyond what I've done in the past. I'm like, well, this is my opportunity to practice, because how I do one thing is how I do everything. I'm practicing and developing equanimity. So when I'm overwhelmed with my business at home, this isn't my first time being here, right? But then it's the same thing when I'm feeling overwhelmed with the family. I bring it over to my business when I'm overwhelmed with the business. So it's like, everything is always practice. It's never really a win. It's never really a loss. It's just an opportunity. And then magnanimity is greatness of spirit. It's a level of nobility that's a refusal of pettiness. And so, that also is something when you tend to be overwhelmed and tired, you snap, right? You're a little bit more rude than you would be. You don't say things. You don't really discipline the tongue a lot. And so everything is an opportunity to practice the type of person that you want to be. Mm-hmm. Now, we're obviously running a large organization, and we've set a goal for ourselves to, more than 10x what our business has been able to accomplish in the past 3 years, because we believe that it's very important for people to see success at a high level, and not just through us, the Oshodins, but through many, 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 many different people from different backgrounds. And so it requires a lot. And obviously, Olivia is pregnant with our 4th any day now, and we already have 3 out from 9, 5, 1.5, and any day now. So it's a lot that's changing all the time. And what we do is, we would not be able to do this without our 9-year-old. It's literally impossible. We're literally all building this business together. And we let them know that our 5-year-old, she's Adonis, they're all just as important, not just as a family, they don't just matter to us, but like actually as our business partners. These are our first brand partners, more than anybody else. So we make sure that they understand that they're valued, and we sit down and we set goals. They understand every single rank. They understand who's on our team and what position they are. They understand the rank that we're at, what we're trying to achieve. And just like we have, goals and dreams and wants attached to that, they have their goals and wants and dreams attached. They know what rank gets them to Disney Island. They know why it's important to be quiet on these calls, right? Or else it would be, I hope you don't think it's like this all the time. As soon as we hit this button, so they know, but they're doing their part, just like we're doing our part. They're doing their part of the business, because we keep clear communication, no different than you keep clear communication with your downline. We're all working on the goals together.
Yeah. And also to something I want to piggyback on what Brandon's saying too, because yes, we've integrated our entire life is literally all together integrated. So that is something very special too, is the fact that we are completely on the same, like our whole family is on the same page. And I think that's something really important to highlight, is get on the same page. But in a sense of health and fitness goals as well, is maybe you're somebody new tapping in, you're struggling with that, is like, I see the value in wanting to be healthy. Maybe you got a ULT program. That's one of our amazing programs that really supports all the family. There's amazing foundational nutrition there that, all of our kids use. So, and us. But how do you do that? And again, it's just having those real conversations. It doesn't have to be like how my kids do, how one of the kids do their health like what they eat and how they would do a ULT is different than me, and not setting that standard of like, okay, this is how you got to do it because this is how I'm doing it, but having that real conversation, like talking to them about like, I know our oldest daughter, she's very much, she's more like competitive. She needs like a carrot to work for. And so just understanding the different personalities, and then just seeing what matters to them and then explaining why, I have an amazing solution. We're doing this. This is why I'm bringing this to the table as a family, because I know for you, this stuff matters. Mm-hmm. For the other child, it's different. And then the other one is, and I think it's so important. We tend to make decisions based off of like, I'm the adult, you're the child, which is important, but also we're also here as guides, not just like an authority, and want them to have the ability to connect the dots and then grow and make decisions. So then as they grow up, they can actually make a educated decision, right, on health, business, things of that nature.
Yep. Now for those are our main things. I think that's one of the things that we do well within our family is we keep it simple. We keep it intuitive. We give everybody the space to be themselves within the guidelines of the principles. Mm-hmm. Like truly, each kid, even our 1-year-old, was starting to see a lot more of his personality. We have the guiding principles that we fall in, but how you express those principles, as long as it's within, honor, integrity, speaking to each other through love, through those different things, they can express it however their soul is choosing to express themselves through the physical body. But simple things, we set goals and we write our goals and read them daily. My daughter likes to write her goals on the wall, so different things like that. But we actually want to open the floor because versus we're thinking about like what would be something valuable to share. I think those core things, but we thought the most valuable thing we can do is have an open discussion. If there's any questions that we can actually speak. We do training calls for our team Monday through Friday. And even though we do come with a topic that we know will be important for their growth from wherever they are in their own leadership development, the most value that the individual gets, and I believe the whole team gets, is from when somebody speaks up about something that they might have been ashamed with or struggling with, that they felt nobody else was dealing with. And then we're able to work through that together. And then everybody else is like, oh yeah, you know what, me too. I didn't really want to talk about that. I thought it was just me, but so let's hope if that's, actually, I probably should have asked if that's the flow of the call.
That's totally fine. Yeah. If anybody wants to raise your hand, we'll unmute you and you can ask some questions because there's incredible on-hands training. So thanks for offering that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think to raise your hand, you just have to go down below and there's a reactions button. I think you can raise your hand there. Little smiley face with a plus sign.
Yeah.
Who's ready for that coaching?
Can change your life. It can be about products. It can be the products that we use for our kids. Our son does Epigenius twice a day. He absolutely loves that. Different kids like different things. Our oldest daughter loves the pills. So like the super aminos, she'd rather take our biomedic through the
Makes
capsule.
Her feel grown up.
Makes her feel like a dog. Whereas our middle daughter, she likes the power shake, those different things.
I see there's a hand up.
Stacy. Hey, Stacy.
Hi, y'all. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate the teaching so far. I have a question about our 22-year-old son. He is just coming back from working in another state, was lifting really heavy, and now he's losing a lot of weight doing the ULT. He needs a lot of toxin release. But he's like, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm losing muscle. I can't really lift, and so I'm trying to encourage him. I understand the process, but what would you recommend for people like that who focus more on the health side or lifting, especially the first time? This is the first time he's done any detox. So what's your recommendations for people like that?
I'll let Lev speak.
Yeah, so I'm a gainer. So he's,
You don't know what that means.
I know I'm gonna just, so as a gainer, not like my goal is to gain weight. I'm always building muscle mass. Like that's literally, I started off at like 150, I'm 5'3", but my ultimate goal is to be like at 165, but not with like body fat, with muscle mass. And it's a lot different process to build muscle mass. It's a lot longer of a process than to put on some LBs. So something that was actually me when my first time ever doing a ULT, I was actually afraid to do it because I spent almost a decade building muscle mass, and I'm naturally a skinny chick. So it is, when I hear detox and things, it was like, I don't know, because I don't want to lose any muscle. I want to be able to keep building and performing very high in the gym. I do lift very heavy, like 500 plus pounds when I'm not pregnant. And so the thing is, though, I did it, and he just needs to make sure he's eating. Like, it might not be the protocol in a sense of like heavy cleansing. It just depends on the ultimate goal, right? So right now, that's more of the concern. We still want to meet people where they are. And so for him, we want him to get the superfoods in his body. Naturally, them in themselves help nourish and detoxify the body, but he needs to probably up his actual food intake if his desired goal is to be able to still be in the gym and to be able to, have a certain look to himself. So that's essentially what I did, is I added everything, but I still maintain getting my actual protein in, not just just relying on, the supplements, but eating my protein still at a high quality, eating my regular routine, but adding everything in. I lost a lot of inflammation. I looked extremely shredded, more than I would, because all those toxins and stuff still got out, and I'm good to go. So that's my advice, is just pump up his calorie intake, his protein intake, and just integrate it in. And then when he wants to do something like that, rock it out. But we still, it sounds like this is his first time. Let's let him like a good experience, so he wants to learn more and have a lifestyle with this, versus like, this is exactly why I didn't want to do this. And then yeah.
Thankfully, he has learned a lot, and when he goes shopping, he'll send me things. Can I have this or not? Or so he's looking at labels, and I'm like, fresh food. But it's good to know about the proteins, because I think definitely he has not been eating enough of that. We've been trying to do, right now we're on the parasite cleanse, so we're trying not to eat the protein, as best. But anyway, so thank you for your suggestion. And then there's so many women on here the opposite way. I'm like, I am not losing any weight. He's lost 12 pounds in 18 days. I mean, he had a lot of inflammation to lose, and probably muscle, is gone too. But then there's women like my daughter, who's 25, who's lost nothing. And I've lost a few pounds.
So that's actually another good point. So when I started with the ULT at 150, or not started with the ULT at 150, but I will say this: when I started my actual fitness journey 10 years ago, I weighed, at my grossest looking, most unhealthy self, I weighed 150. And actually Brandon was my coach, and I did a whole program with him, and it was day 24. And I remember I was so mad at him because I even did really good during Thanksgiving. I missed that's a big deal in my house because my mom goes above and beyond. And I didn't eat anything besides vegetables, basically, and nothing else. And I just remember weighing myself, and I still said 150. And I was texting him like, I can't believe I did all of this. And
Very angry text.
I still went 150, didn't work. But then he said this to me, have you taken your measurements and have you taken a picture? And
Yeah.
I was like, why would I do that? The scale says, and then I did it, and it was like a completely different like person. So something especially for women is a lot of times we get so stuck on that number on the scale, a
Right.
lot of times not realizing, like we're not necessarily paying attention to actually how I feel in my jeans is a lot different. How I feel, like other ways to track it, you know, so that's something to always remember and highlight is like, actually, I woke up, I don't need this anymore. Or, you know, how you're feeling in your jeans. I took a picture, my face is so much slender, like everything in the measurements, like that's key is taking the measurements because again, when you start adding on muscle, you're going to still weigh the same, even though you drop body fat. So
Yeah.
that's something really important, especially for women. That is such a battle all the time that I want to highlight.
All right, thank you all.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Cool.
Any other questions? I know that they're in the chat, but I can never read the chat when I'm talking. It's like a blur. Let's see. Thanks for the game. Test that.
Cool.
Okay.
I'll jump in. And thank you so much for coming on with all your experience with raising these 3, now 4 kids and sharing with our community here. And I know a lot of my clients, they have had children who, you know, are still just so brainwashed with all the toxicity that exists primarily marketed to kids. So, you know, how do you navigate the world with that, just so more people can hear how you do that in our community?
Again, every question is going to be answered by the same exact thing. We started from the very foundation with, we are going to choose to live an intentional life. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't, there's nobody that can market to our kids. There's nobody that can market to me. We don't listen to music, TV, anything. Like, we're completely creating our world. We don't know what's going on in the world. And we're never missing anything. We're always in the right place at the right time. We haven't missed anything by not plugging in. So our children are also home. They've never been in school. So they don't have all these different opportunities to be marketed to. These are just decisions that we had to make, and they were hard.
Yeah.
We struggled financially for a way long. We were not always 2-star crowns for the longest time. We were struggling. I wouldn't say struggling. We had financial success, but we made investments into our own personal growth and development because we knew that there was more and better, and we knew what we wanted required a level of financial sacrifice where we were. So as a lot of times we were growing, you know, developing our family and our business, we didn't have necessarily the resources to do what we wanted to do, but we just kept pushing forward and forward. And now we're at a position where we can, you know, hire a homeschool teacher and do all the different things that we want. So, you know, we made a sacrifice of comfort for a life of intention. And because we did that, we don't have to worry about what everybody else has got going on.
And ultimately something that's like really big with us, we like listen to the voice within, or the voice within. I'm trying to think of it's just like, you know how you all have, like, you have something that someone says, but inside you just feel like I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't go that direction. Is like, we're really big on following that. And ultimately children actually have a heightened level, like, you know, they all have a deeper connection with that. I think as we grow up in the world or race, you lose it. Luckily, because we've been so intentional and we built that foundation, we're pretty tapped in. But it even in a sense of, it's not like they don't ever come in contact with other children and things like that, or it's like, but they're so aligned with themselves. Like, I think the most important thing is that if you really give your child the opportunity to really be strong within themselves, you know, cultivate an area, like a environment where they can really feel comfortable with themselves truly, it's very easy to just like see what's for me and what's not for me. And that's the biggest thing, is understand, like, not us as parents understand, like we need to understand, but give them that space to cultivate that within themselves, because then it's like, I mean, our daughter, we call her like baby Buddha, our oldest, like that's how she's always been, because she knows, and we allow her to work through that knowing of
And affirm it.
and affirm it.
You know, and you know.
Mhm.
Don't question that.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I just had a question. What were those 5 principles that you shared early? But I was trying to make notes and I wanted to make sure people heard those 5.
Oh, from our thing.
Your framed principles.
There's actually 13.
Yeah, no, there's 13 principles.
13? All right.
Want to hear all our principles?
Yeah, it's fun.
We will work to understand that only what God would have us do is what we want to do. There is every reason to feel confident that you will succeed. It is the will of God. So anytime you feel fear and doubt, you're sleepwalking.
Yeah.
That's a sign that you actually you've fallen asleep. We don't affirm that it's natural to feel worried and anxious. We don't believe that. We believe like when you fall asleep on a highway and you start feeling that bump, 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 bump on the road, like that's a sign that you're waking up. We don't want our children to be like feeling that bump, 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 or us and feel like, oh, I'm in a fight and in my dream and let me try to figure out how I'll win the fight. No, the solution is to wake up from the dream. If you're not feeling confident, if you're not feeling miraculous, then you're out of alignment with God. So that's the first principle.
Yeah.
2, we remove our egos and speak from truth within each individual and to each individual in the family. The truth is love. 3, we commit to ongoing personal growth and development through mentors and mastermind groups. 4, we hold the family standard, no matter the situation. Peace is our standard. 5, by grace we live and by grace we are released. So by grace we give and by grace we will release. 6, that's more about forgiveness. 6, each generation multiplies the previous layer of financial abundance. Oshodins are wise stewards of wealth. 7, everything rises and falls on leadership. The measure of an effective leader is not the number of people who serve us, it's the number of people we can serve. 8, the trees are our lungs, the soil is our gut microbiome. Our bodies are mostly water. We are not separate from the earth. Oshodins invest time, influence, and resources in the regeneration of the earth. 9, we take responsibility to discipline our minds and our hands to regenerate the community and equip leaders all over the world to do the same in our global community. 10, we develop self-respect, presence of mind, and integrity through movement and nutrition. 11, live so authentically that it empowers everyone to express their authentic selves. 12, we maintain high standards in all we do, which reduces low-quality experiences. 13, remember, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Wow. That was so moving. And I'm so happy I asked you for you to explain it better, because I was like, wow, if you're creating this world, these are the principles for your world. And those are beautiful intentions. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend everybody do it if you haven't, because it makes life easy, because it's a simple question. Is it in alignment or is it not in alignment? Not the kind of, oh, well, what are these kids doing? What are we supposed to do? Well, the doctor said this, none of that. It's just like, is it in alignment or not? It's like one decision we got to make versus a million decisions all throughout the day. That would drain my battery.
Yeah.
Shannon, miraculous day.
Hey there. With all that you've said, I understand that you're one unit, and that's amazing. And I dreamed of that my whole life. Unfortunately, I live in a mixed household with teenagers that, now have already been molded and are looking at the framework that has been set by the schools and by other parents. So I know you work with a large team. Can you speak to that at all, as how, when you feel like not in alignment with maybe the other set of parents, but you're dealing with teenagers that are at high school in a public situation, is there anything that you can speak on that too? I mean, I know you probably deal with it, so obviously not in your home, but maybe you are able to speak on that some.
I'll say something, you can say something too, on that. Is Well, here's the thing is that we made the decision at that, like on our head to trickle down our lineage, right, in our household. Doesn't necessarily mean it's this upward, right? And I think that's important because a lot of our decisions we made even within our family wasn't necessarily new ideas in our lineage above. And so the best thing though is part of like our principles is just give grace, understanding that love everyone where they're at, but ultimately we're really responsible for ourselves. So the more like we continue to just pour into ourselves and the people who want to be poured into, it's going to cultivate an environment where more seeds can be planted. And when it's not our business to know when it's going to sprout, but just trust that God will on the divine time sprout it when it may. That's my advice. And that's how I think of a lot of things.
That's all I was just going to say, because there's different situations and scenarios for sure. But the first thing is, again, like it starts with self before it goes out to family. Am I actually living up to the principles that I want anybody else to uphold? Before I even mention it or call somebody else, let me go make sure, let me check, let me do a self-assessment. Am I demonstrating it? And if so, then I always, we have a training called 3 Crowns, and it's based off of Lion King. Remember, there was three crowns. There was Mufasa, Simba, and Scar. And what's great is, Simba went into the wild, which we might say, outside the world is a wild. He went into the wild relatively young. So he only had a little bit of experience with Mufasa and a little bit of, and then he's seen Scar. But from what he remembered about his father, how he carried himself, what his father would do, he was able to fall back on that eventually, not right away. He didn't right away say, okay, I'm gonna be king, but eventually he was able to have that self-realization, that come to Jesus moment or God moment, remember who you are, and then go back and act out the principles that he saw when he was coming up. And so we just have to hold, again, we're not, these are our children are their own people, but they would have at least seen the example of what's possible. So at any time they want to elevate, they know who they could call upon, or if we're not, or if it's not a situation they can call upon us, they will remember everything that they've seen, and we trust God to do the rest.
It's just like if you watch that movie, is it Rafiki told Simba to look in the water, and he had to look again to remember who he is. It's always going to be, again, you hold the frame, it's always going to be there if Simba chooses to look.
He chooses.
Yeah.
Or remember, Simba was like, they were like, look at the star, they were looking at the stars, and all his friends were like, joking and laughing, and it's gas, it's all this stuff. And Simba was like, these are the fathers that come before, the kings above that came before us, and they all started laughing. And so Simba started laughing and played small to fit into the group. So they will go into this. We fully expect we're not expecting our kids. We have no expectations of our kids to go through and not make any of the mistakes that we've made. We completely understand, but at the end of the day, remember who you are, and you have a roadmap back.
Yeah.
Is the main thing.
And by allowing love and grace to flow, that means the door is always open and they know it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, we want to make it happen. It's like, then there's a resentment, or, it feels like I can't come back. It's like,
yeah,
totally can come back. Love you where you are.
And we tell our kids exactly when we make mistakes, whether we make mistakes in leadership, we didn't communicate something well to our team, we spoke out of anger or quickness, we're tired, hey, listen, come back, I didn't mean to say it like that, can we put our heads together, do you forgive me, so that they see that we're not trying to portray that we're perfect either, because man, we are not. But like, these are our principles though, this is the bottom line of what we're trying to do. So they also have an example of, my parents aren't perfect right off bat. You're not perfect.
And that's really good, because then they understand that nobody's perfect and they're seeing us grow from it.
Amazing.
Mary.
We're gonna take one more question and then we're gonna close it out. So I'm gonna unmute you, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you guys are sharing. It's really helpful. I was curious what products you guys personally take when you're training and working on your fitness goals. Specifically, I'm wondering how many aminos you take daily, but just products in general.
I probably the same thing as everybody else. I do the daily core 4. So just that. I probably only take like 5 or 10 aminos. I eat animal protein. I'm not vegan or plant-based at all. I just eat high quality, but yeah, most of my protein still comes from animals.
For me, I feel like we literally have like when someone opens a pantry, you see a whole bunch of canned goods. It's like a whole bunch of Purium, and we just eat it. Because I love all of the skin stuff. Especially now being pregnant, want to make sure that my skin is good. But the core 4 is definitely a big fundamental. I love the super xanthan, and that's something I do take when I'm lifting and things like that. For the aminos, it was always doing 10 3 times a day on top of my animal protein intake. And I see aminos as like my extra credit.
Yeah.
So that's where someone who's as a gainer who does eat high quality protein, animal place or whatever, I make sure I actually get it through when people ask you, what's the grams? Well, I get my body weight and all that through, but that's just like the extra dose. Like, so I'm for sure covered. Like there's no way I'm not getting this. So, that's how I view the meals in our world. Yeah,
I think what was important for us, and the reason why we partnered, because we never came with the idea of going vegan or plant-based, even though for a while we dramatically reduced the amount of animal protein we took in. It really made us more aware of our body and just a little more conscious to a lot of different things. But for us, it was a micronutrient issue. And if you're looking or speaking to somebody who's not already in the holistic, we didn't come from the holistic background, I wouldn't lead with, we've got these great organic proteins, because that might not be it for them. But the power shake is what we saw. Is like, man, I'm eating broccoli and asparagus every day. I know I'm not getting really what I need. And the biodiversity and availability of the power shake made a difference right away, night and day. And I felt like my digestion improved from that one product alone. So for us, it's the micronutrients, the phytonutrients, more than it is just more than it is when you look at proteins, that's a macronutrient.
Yeah.
And the way that we lift, animal protein has the creatine in it that we need, because we lift like 500, 600, 700 pound explosive lifts. So it's like, but if you don't have your micronutrients, you can't even absorb any protein that you're actually taking in. So for us, it's that, and then it's the gut health.
Yeah.
The digestive enzymes are incredible, because I was always been very muscular, but I would have this bloating within my gut, and the biomedic, the advanced probiotic, the digestive enzymes, all great. And
I saw the question about what do I mean by skin stuff. So like, I love the dark berry. That's like my jam, because I'm a sweet person naturally.
Yeah.
So I love that there's like the sweet, it's like berries and cream, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I always get them mixed up. It's the nighttime and the daytime. I think it's Regine.
Oh yeah, those are.
I love, that's my jam right there. And then of course the hair, skin, and nails mixed with it. But everything that has to do with skin, say no more for me. I'm there.
Oh wait, I don't know how I could forget the can't beat this, because I've been taking pre-workout. Yeah, that was a game changer, because we used to take all these pre-workouts that would like burnt out our adrenal glands for a long time. So once we got the beats, and I'll tell you this from somebody who's coming from, you want to say something there?
Yeah, I don't know why I did not say this from the jump. My favorite of all time is my green trio.
That's what I was thinking.
I know, I don't know why I did say that. So my green trio is, I drink the kamut. So I do like I'm trying to think of, honestly, I'm just like the cook that just throws stuff in how it feels right. So I'm trying to think of what would be ideal. So maybe like a teaspoon, and then I do another teaspoon of the cracked silk-Corella, and then I do like a tablespoon of the cocoa mint spirulina, and I blend that up with water and ice, and it literally tastes like a mint chocolate chip ice cream to me. And that's like my absolute favorite. Like I probably like 2 times a day. When I first got started with Purium, again, when we're talking about, we come from a more sports performance background. Something that was really big was when I started incorporating more high quality, naturally you start to detox. So my skin really broke out. And when I integrated that trio, it was like a night and day with my skin. And so that's when I say anything skin, I'm like, yeah, but that trio is my all-time favorite. I got my mom on, I got everybody on it now because it's so good.
And I would say for like athletes or people used to doing pre-workouts like us, it's the beats is hands down the best. And let people know, like, we went from taking a ton of caffeine in our pre-workout and whatever else was in there, to the can't beat this. And we made a commitment to try it so we could speak from experience, and we didn't feel anything. We're used to feeling an up, and we're like, oh, this isn't working. But then it kicked in like 15 days later, like, oh, we don't feel anything, but we feel great. Like
Yeah.
we didn't like, so we're used to feeling something like it's kind of like,
Fight or
and
flight.
then it's like, boom, it's a crash. And so we didn't realize, like, oh, we don't feel anything. Like, we just feel great. There's no whoop, you feel great. There's no crash, you don't feel great. It's just like, it's just a steady, and that's great because, when you're, maybe like in your teens and early 20s, you want to be, yeah, you don't have time to crash after the gym. You got a whole life to live still. So it's great.
Yeah. Dosage for it. For
Man, we
again,
put there's no rhyme or reason. It's like tips.
like, yeah, it's just like, this looks good. Like,
Eye out.
pour. Yeah. It's also really good too. They can't beat it. I'll say, I come from a long lineage of varicose veins in the family, and a lot of women but have the issue with the circulation, hips down. I don't have varicose veins, but I did notice that when I add that into my everyday, my circulation in my legs is a lot better, especially when I'm like going through pregnancies. You get that flow stop or whatever.
Wow, I love that so much. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fierce Friday with the Million Mom Movement. I love everything that you shared, and your family is so inspirational. I love that you're homeschooling and you're really able to just really put the, share with your kids what you want them to have in their world, right? You're really creating the world around them, the information that they're exposed to, the people that they're exposed to. And I love what you're doing because I just think it's so incredible. I mean, we're bombarded with so much information out there in the world with public schools and all the things. And, I love that you're able to just really hone it in and have your family unit be setting these goals together for your business, for your health, for your fitness, all of the different areas in your home. And it's really inspirational. So I just want to thank you for hopping on. And we do have some more announcements here at the end of our call. One of the things that we've been working on is we found an outdated video of kids drinking green shakes and sharing what they love about Purium. And it's literally like 8 to 10 years old. Those kids are now probably teenagers, and we'd love to recreate that video for the Million Mom Movement and for all of you to use and share with other families. Like, look, kids love these superfoods, because we all know the moms are like, my kids won't drink a green drink. They're not going to eat chlorella. But you know what? My kid loves chlorella. He goes for it every afternoon after school. He goes and he dumps it out and he eats it since he was like 1 year old. So we want to highlight those videos. And I know that we all have little clips in our phone. We haven't had a whole lot coming in the last couple of weeks. So I'm just going to encourage you. You don't have to, you could make a new video clip if you'd like to, but I know that all of us moms and dads have some clips in our phone of our kids drinking superfoods or, asking about it, talking about it. So please send some of those in. I'm going to drop the link right here in the comments. So go ahead and grab that link so you can, it's a type form link. It's super simple. You just upload your videos and upload as many as you want, because we can use these to make reels. We can use it in so many different ways. And we want to highlight you and your kids in the way that they love Purium. So please send those in. You can also find all the information we've shared today will be posted in our Million Mom Movement official. But before I go any more into announcements, I'm going to pass it over to Taz Ferreira, and she's going to share with us our call to action for today. So Taz, over to you.
Thank you so much, Naiva. Thank you so much, Oshodins. You were incredible. I love everything you're saying. And you know what? Public schools, it's also private schools. And the main teaching starts with us as parents, our buying habits, our eating habits. It starts with us and what we're teaching our kids at home. So on what Olivia was talking about, eliminating toxins and protein, right? You have to be really careful when it comes to protein that we're consuming. And what happens is that we're probably consuming more toxins in this protein powder. So what you're looking for and how are you supposed to look at these labels? Because glyphosate is not even labeled on these powders or these foods. So how are we supposed to know to avoid it when we're trying to make decisions, right? This is why as a community in the Million Mom Movement, we bring this to your attention. Okay, let me share my screen and show you what we're talking about today. Okay, so today let's take out our phones and let's go to Whole Foods. Okay, type in Whole Foods. Let's do this together. And we are going to be talking about the protein right here. The 365 brand plant protein greens, French vanilla. It has 31 parts per billion of this toxic herbicide glyphosate per the Detox Project. We have been unable to reach the company to address this issue. And as a group of concerned parents at the Million Mom Movement, make sure to tag us so we can repost this as well. We would like to see more transparency in this brand. Are you curious to take action and do something about it? So let's post this. And we would love for you to take a screenshot of what you posted and tag us in the Million Mom Movement. You know what? So this is a way that we can do this collectively together and show them that we will not stand for this toxicity, this toxic chemical glyphosate to be in our foods. And we are the consumers and we have the purchasing power to eliminate it, right? So let's do this together and make a difference. Back to you, Naiva.
Thank you so much, Taz. Yes, I always love our call to action. Please go and do that. The more voices that we share, and that was on Instagram, so go to the Whole Foods on Instagram, make your own version of that post. And, you know, the more awareness we bring to the companies, then the more they know that we actually care. And we're also educating other people that might see those posts and educate themselves around it, right? Be like, what are these ladies talking about? What are these people talking about? So please go and make your own version of that comment. And then, like Taz said, take a screenshot, post it on your stories, tag the Million Mom Movement. We'd love to repost that so other people in the community can see that call to action. They can get inspired to do it as well. And we can just keep moving this movement forward. So thank you for participating in that. So let's see, next week we have, we'd love to have you register. Taz, can you grab the link for our next Fierce Friday? I forgot to go grab that. Our next week, January 27th, will be Start a Health Wave. So we're, you know, we've eased into this new year. A bunch of us have done some group transformation, but we're going to continue doing group transformations into February as well. And we really want to encourage you and support you in what it takes to do that. So we're going to be sharing how to start a health wave and just have a whole lot of fun sharing this with others. So please join us next Friday. You can always find the links to our events for Fierce Friday on the Million Mom Movement on Facebook. That's the very first place I post all of the events. So you can find those Facebook events there if you're ever curious what the next event is or what the whole month of events are. This week, I'll be getting all of February's events up. And we'd love to just invite you to follow us on all of our social media channels. We have an Instagram, we have our Facebook, and then we have our Million Mom Movement official on Facebook as well. And that's where we post the replay to this Zoom, as well as all the links that we shared today. So if you missed anything or you're wondering how to grab those links out of the chat, you can go to Million Mom Movement official, make sure that you are part of that group, invite your team to be part of that group. And really, we want to invite you to share your voice there as well. You are all here. You're all part of the Million Mom Movement. And we'd love to have that group be super active. So if you have fun ways that you'd like to create activity in that group, we invite you to just share your voice there, share your stories there. and have a whole lot of fun, because that's our group for all of us to go and share our expertise in ourselves and share and be a part of the movement. So I thank you all for joining us. And yeah, please also, if you'd like to be featured, you can always use our hashtags Million Mom Movement or Million Mom, I am the Million Mom Movement, we are the Million Mom Movement, and I can repost you on our social media channels. So I think that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there any other announcements that you can think of, Carmela or Taz?
Absolutely. We can't leave this Million Mom Movement Fierce Friday without someone reading the pledge.
Of course, I knew I was forgetting something. Who's going to read the pledge for us today? Olivia and Brandon, would you like to read our pledge for us? I'll pull it up on my screen.
Sure.
Okay, let me just pull this up. All right.
So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do the first two. You do the last three.
All right.
Pledge. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients.
Oh, me. Okay. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing the movement of many. I am Million Mom Movement. I am Million Mom Movement. I saw the mom capitalized. I was like, did I say something?
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, we capitalized the mom because we started switching into the movement of many, because we know there's so many dads that are also a part of our community. There's also aunts, uncles, grandparents. And so we didn't want to segregate anybody out. And so we're all part of the Million Mom Movement, AKA the movement of many. And thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you all next Friday. Have a beautiful weekend. And I'm going to go ahead and unmute you all so that let's go ahead and stop this recording, and then I can unmute you all. Give me just a second.